Blonde Jen.
Sexy JK. What's up, Army? Welcome back to Redemption 46 Studios. I'm Nick.
Keith.
I'm Curtis.
You know the vibes. Y'all seen the picture. Y'all seen the thumbnail. Y'all know why y'all here. Whalien, 52. BTS. This is your first time on the channel. Hit the subscribe button. Become a real redeemer today. Also, for more content like this, and if you like this and want to see the live version, make sure you're going over to the Patreon. We have BTS dance practices on there. Whole album review for Indigo is on there. A couple other newer interviews that hit were on there. In the Soup, Run BTS. Almost anything BTS centric that you guys want. Them Golden Disc Awards.
They're crazy.
God tier. Also this month, I think we will be getting into the MMA 2021 joint. I think we're still on.
Okay.
Or was it 2022? One of them joints. Whatever one we didn't do, we're doing. So you got to be on there.
The most lonely creature in the world. You wanna know my story? I never told this to anybody. 한 마리 고래가 나지막히 외롭게 말을 해. 아무리 소리쳐도 닿지 않는 게 사무치게 외로워 조용히 입 다문에 아무도 어디로 말했던 이제만 알았지. 외로움이란 녀석만 내 곁에서 머물 때 온전히 혼자가 아닌 외로움이 채우는 잠을 새. 누군 말해 세계 연예인 다른 애. Oh fuck that. 그래 뭐 어때 누군가 곁에 머물 수 없다 한데도 그걸로 좋게 날 향해 쉽게 얘기하는 이 말은 꼭 벽이 돼. 외로운 도찬이를 눈에 척이 돼. 그 벽에 갇혀서 내 숨이 막혀져 저 수면을 향해. Lonely lonely way 이렇게 혼자 노래 불러 왜 단서 같은 나도 밝게 들을 수 있을까. Lonely lonely way 이렇게 또 한 번 불러봐. No more, no more, baby, no more, no more. 끝없는 무정 하나 언젠가 닿을 거야. 저기 지구만 되면 가진다. No more, no more, baby, no more, no more. 눈먼 고래도 좋지, 나 볼 수 있을 거야. 오늘도 다시 노래하지만 세상은 절대로 몰라. 내 앞에만 섞일 수 없는 무가기는 그저 난 수면 위에서만 숨을 쉴 때 관심껏 외로움 받아서 고마. 나도 안 되고 싶네 내 갇혀 everyday 걱정에 머무는 해 Let's stick on groovy day. Never land 왜 끝은 없고 매번 hell 시간이 가도 차가운 시간 속에 never land. 넌 생각해 지금 새우잡하더라도 꿈은 고래다 game. 다가올 큰 진상이 매우 춤을 추게 한 거야 난 나게 내일을 향해 저 푸른 밤과 내 헤어지는 믿어. 이렇게 혼자 노래 불러 왜 단서 같은 나도 밝게 들을 수 있을까. Lonely way 이렇게 또 한 번 불러봐. 대답 없는 이 노래가 내일이 닿을 때까지. 어머니는 바다가 부르다 하셨어. 멀리 힘껏 네 목소리 내라 하셨어. 그런데 어떡하죠 여긴 너무 깜깜하고 온통 다른 말을 하는 다른 고래는 우린데 오랫동안 사랑한다 말하고 싶어. 혼자는 좋은 노래 같은 나보고 입에 짚어. 이 바다 너무 깊어 그래도 나 다행인 걸. I'm a whale. 이렇게 혼자 불러 왜 단서 같은 나도 밝게 들을 수 있을까. Lonely way 이렇게 또 한 번 불러봐. 대답 없는 이 노래가 내일이 닿을 때까지. No more, no more, baby, no more, no more. 끝없는 무전하라 언젠가 닿을 거야. 저기 지구만 대평가시 자. No more, no more, baby, no more, no more. 눈먼 무대를 쫓아 나 볼 수 있을 거야. 다시 노래하지.
Nah, keep go back 10 seconds.
I will not.
Go the fuck back.
끝없는 모전하라 언젠가 닿을 거야 저기 지구 반대편까지 다
No more, no more, baby, no more, no more.
그런 노래들조차 날 볼 수 있을 거야 오늘도 다시 노래하지 나.
Let me guess. JK. Somebody like, no.
It was sugar.
It was Sugar. Say nah. This what'd you say?
You jumping in?
Oh yeah. Oh, you hype?
Yeah.
This fire. Nah, go ahead, though. This
So-
shit fire.
I usually like. There's a lot of things I pick up on, but I usually leave the concepts to Kurt to kind of break down the lyrics. But like this was just fucking crazy. It talks about loneliness, and it gives you the example of him being a whale in the ocean, and him singing his song and nobody responding back. Whales use sonar kind of like bats, but only throughout the entire ocean. Their voices are carried throughout the ocean as they sing their song, and that's how they find their mates, is how they find their pack. But like there's just so many things. So like J-Hope said, my pain is like water. Where do whales dwell in? They dwell in water. So you're drowning in your pain. Like that shit is just crazy. And the song is not Whalien, it's Whalien. He's like, I'm a whale trying to speak to other whales, but nobody understands me. So I'm not just a whale, I'm a Whalien because I feel isolated and alone, surrounded by other whales.
I didn't even notice the 52, Area 51, right?
Yeah.
If there's a correlation to that, like
So he would be like Whalien,
a designated area
right.
for kind of the. That's
It
insane.
is funny you mentioned that too, because it's like whales. Sometimes with the sonar, it can sound like, ironically, like you're
Crying.
like you're crying or you're like
kind of
wailing.
like that note that was being held throughout the entire song.
And I can see
whimpering and wailing can almost be
wailing,
synonymous.
Yeah.
or almost synonymous with it. And I can
Wailing
understand.
like oh my god!
And I can understand too how like imagine not too many creatures can pick up sonar either. So whales are sometimes, I don't want to say the most misunderstood like creatures.
Unless you're Dory, because Dory can speak well.
It's a I see what you're going with this, and it's very beautiful, and I'm gonna let you jump back in your point because I think you was killing it. BTS does so good at taking things kind of like this and stretching these like concepts out into like a bunch of layers of metaphors and just some double entendres and everything else. It is a lot to dissect in this.
I'm not trying to step on your point or anything, Keith, but it's just like even if whales are like kind of seen as like the kings of the ocean, so to speak, or anything like that, but yet the wailing and the screaming, it's like a communication, but you're not being understood, like to where it's like I'm literally having to kind of belt out, and so that's the crazy thing because that last note is so incredible in the song, but the narrative implication behind why like you're literally belting out that pain and that like that's just insane.
Yeah, because the core message it looks like is loneliness, and just like you said, the whole misunderstood thing, and like you said, I didn't even kind of put that in. Like you said, the Whalien is just now. It's just it makes a lot of sense. Go off, bro. This shit where I just
That's
living
incredible.
it. It's dope.
Suge said something. It was and it's almost a recurring theme when it comes to them. You see it in Shadow, you see it in other songs as well, where and ironically, Suge was the one that did Shadow, where he says, "Some say, bastard, you become a celebrity," and he'll like, "Yo, like shut up, like oh fuck that," you know what I mean? Like that. What does that have to do with me being lonely or not? Just because I'm a celebrity doesn't mean I'm lonely. I'm more susceptible to being lonely because I am a celebrity. And like if you ever, well, I mean, nobody's ever just like went to the depths of the ocean, but like the ocean is dark. So, you know what I mean? Like you're kind of floundering around, using sonar, hoping to get some sound back from an endless supply of pain that you're trapped in and that you're resting in, and you're not getting anything back from anybody. Your song is not being reciprocated. You're not finding your pack. You're not finding your grouping. Even though there are whales around you, nobody's responding back to you. Nobody is like talking to you, and you're just in this pain. You're just dwelling in here. That shit is crazy. And it was just a great video, great song, and like it really hit when RM said that line. I'm not just I'm a Whalien. I'm like, oh, okay, I got it. I thought that was just like really, really dope. I thought it definitely hit home, definitely hit a lot, and was well and also the message was well delivered by everybody. Mm-hmm. So normally, if you give three people a concept, they might be a little off on their three versions of the concept, but it seems like everybody hit right on the nose in their own way, obviously, of what it meant for them to be lonely and correlated with everybody else. Like it was
I want
really
to double down on that.
Yes, sir.
With the way the lyrics are illustrated too, the reason why I think all of them can kind of like correlate it a lot, like, in multiple ways is it seems like they could be talking about this from the perspective of like just like a regular person being lonely. Mm-hmm. And some of them are almost hinting at me as an artist, being so stuck in my craft and doing things that I'm lonely as like an artist.
So his verse literally says the celebrity. Like, I'm a celebrity, I shouldn't be. He's like, well, fuck that. Like, that's not the case,
Yeah, and I think that's beautiful because like it's so layered and relatable to almost anybody doing something so much that it might be taking them away from other things or just kind of like, really having you lonely, stuck in whatever profession you're doing. And then you have the human side of it from everyone else on here as well, too. So it's just like I said, taking those concepts and making them so relatable from 7 different people sounding like they all got exactly what the assignment was and nailing it in all different facets and different ways is decent. But y'all can go off, yeah?
Well, I'm just going to touch on a couple things. For one, this is so beautiful. Just in the hook alone, like or the bridge by V, when he was like, basically, I'm blocked and I'm confined in that wall. And it's like essentially, as he says, basically, I'm trying to head towards the surface of the water above, keeping with that motif of the drowning in your sorrow thing, as Keith had said, to where it's like you're literally at the bottom, but you're trying to swim up towards that surface to just gasp air, and you're not able to. So it's like you're personifying that sadness and that pain, and I just thought that was so beautifully said as well. And then basically what J.K. and V had said, in the hook was like, will I ever shine so brightly like a remote island? So you're playing on the loneliness of being on an island to yourself, but the beauty of a paradise of an island as opposed to the alienation that it presents. And honestly, I wouldn't doubt if any of those things could be related, but it's like you're playing on the aspect that it's like there's this lonely remote island and everyone thinks it's so beautiful from the outside, much like the mirrored image of what a celebrity is. You're seeing that paradise, seeing that alienated, or you're not seeing the alienation that is presented with being on an island. You just see the beauty and the grandioseness of it, and they're saying, nah, like it's lonely here. We're sad, and that just hits so deeply.
Like you guys hear my song, but you can't respond. There's nobody I can actually talk to.
And honestly, on the hook with Jin and JM, or is it JM? Excuse me. Jin and RM was even blind whales will be able to see me. So basically today I sing, but it's right before that with Jimin and RM. This all ties together, of course, is an endless signal will reach someday even to the other side of that earth. So it's like you're belting out these notes knowing that sonar isn't going to hit, much like the whale thing, as far as you said, is finding your pack, is I'm going to belt out the most extreme notes, because even if it doesn't reach someone today, it's going to reach someone. I know it's funny, they also used the lyric of tomorrow, towards the end, and I don't know if that's a pickup on the song of tomorrow, of that brighter day. So it's just
that
now,
was just kind of awkwardly placed in there.
So now it's no longer just the beauty of this song. It's talking about now songs like Paradise, songs like Tomorrow could be perhaps
I don't
tied
think
in
you're jumping to.
But whenever you record songs on wax and send them out into the world, that's exactly what you're doing.
And they said specifically the other side of the world. So it's like, even if I'm not understood, today, it's just someone somewhere down the line with the advent of streaming, 10 years,
somebody
15,
will hear
20 years from now, this is going to hit someone. And that's why we belt out these notes, even through our sorrow.
And the
it's going to hit
piggyback,
someone.
This line, I meant to mention this earlier, believe in my hurts. Hertz is like the frequency, you know what I mean?
Oh my God,
that
that's
whales
incredible.
use like to send out their signal. And so like I believe in my hurts, I believe in the strength of my song, that it will reach out to somebody.
That's some of the most beautiful poetry.
And like, go across the world, or it will be heard and somebody will hear it. I believe in my strength that much. You know what I mean? It's wild, the word usage. I don't normally like fanboy over the lyrics. I usually just watch the video and just chill. But this really, this really just caught me.
Yeah,
And this was dope.
Another thing too, before you jump back into your spill,
No, you good.
without looking, I'm pretty sure P Dog did this. The production on here, you can tell, you can tell. This is kind of like that run era, and like this is when they kind of get into that because the production just was playing on like a whole nother frequency as far as like what they were able to do on here. Those simple like build-ups. I think anytime you go look back at the reaction, you'll see my hands start tinkering when like the build-up is coming. They just did such a great job.
Too, on a production level, I wouldn't doubt if they took the BPM on like a seismo scale or something, seismograph, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay,
I
see what you about to
and did the tempo of kind of what sonar represents.
With a sonar represents
to keep with the that aspect, and nonetheless, that would be an incredible production aspect, whether it's true in this case or not. It's just that, like, knowing a concept that rich, what does that do from the paper and the pen to kind of allow you to kind of explore a little bit more of that? And honestly, what was it? That's a funny thing too, because in Tomorrow, remember the muffling of V's voice in the hook, the muffled kind of screen. So I wouldn't doubt if these connect in that regard at all. But nonetheless, I mean, that's just incredible.
I kind of wonder what RM was watching when he was writing
This Freak really.
This might be arguably
to be honest, like listening to the song, has anybody seen Star Trek 4?
I haven't personally.
With the humpback
with
whales?
the humpback whales.
I would be watching this. I'll be watching that while writing this because that's what it reminds me of. They wanted basically aliens from the future. It came down. They were highly intelligent, but they were only using whale sonar songs. But Earth at that time, all the humpback whales were extinct, so they had to go back in the time and take two humpback whales, the last two humpback whales, in captivity. Or were they the last period? They might have been the last period.
Might have been the last period.
And then take them to the future to answer, because when they couldn't answer it, the aliens retaliated and thought there was no intelligent life and was going to destroy the Earth. So they had to take the humpback whales to Earth to sing the song. And like, I thought, So, but if you haven't watched it, watch it. Check it out. It's probably the best movie from the original cast, period. Besides Search for Spock and Wrath of Khan. But, no, not Search for Spock. Definitely Wrath of Khan. But again, like I just thought that was really, really nice touch. I also didn't mean to step on your point, Kurt. My bad.
Oh no, you're good.
I'm pretty sure
that's incredible.
I'm pretty sure Rapline wrote all this too. So shout out to them. And I don't know. Like I said, I'm probably talking, but for some reason I feel like I'm just like this is probably factual at this point in the shit. I'm pretty sure Aaron probably came up with the concept, and then J-Hope and Suge wrote they verse probably, and then everyone else kind of followed suit. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comments. But this was beautiful. I'm gonna let you jump back into your point, Kurt, but it's just that the BTS is so in their own lane every time they do things of this nature, where they're able to take these concepts and really like stretch them into like songs, give you almost a beginning, middle, and an end, and somehow still make it super catchy. It's very hard to just do like a catchy song in general, and they kind of always knock that at the park. But for their song to be so layered, where how can I word this nicely and shit? Where if I don't want to say if you were brain dead. If you didn't care too much about concepts or anything like that, this might just come off kind of like it's just like kind of like a beautiful song, like just about loneliness, and just like you'll catch like a little bit here and there. But if you're like one of those people who kind of really start breaking down these lyrics, going kind of bar by bar and starting to patch some things up, it's gonna look like that damn, what is it, the skateboard when that meme where it's just all these dots connected everywhere and shit like that. Yeah, the string board. But all that to say, I just kind of love how like they're able to make really hit records and have them so layered with just like complex things. I don't think it's a lot harder to write about loneliness than I think someone would think it is, because you probably could be 2 bars in and just be like, all right, that's it. Like I think I did it all.
It's really incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as somebody who's like not just written like stories or scripts or whatever, but also written like poetry or whatever, loneliness is a very broad topic. Like it's a hot topic. It's
Isn't that such an oxymoron? It's a universal theme, but it's You're alienated.
But you're alienated.
But like so it really depends on how vulnerable you want to expose yourself to the audience that is possibly reading it. Because when you're writing about loneliness, you're essentially opening up your diary for the world to see. For those that have diaries. But
And I
like,
still think you gotta walk a nice line because you can. I ain't gonna
You
say
can
come
get
off.
too much of
You
yourself.
can come off almost too
Weak.
just yeah,
like
exactly.
you can like just so like like somebody can read that and be like you know you feel like now you feel so like if you gave a book of what you've written to everybody in your family, then you walk into a room and they just kind of look at you. They might be appreciative of how you've written it, but in your mind, because you're now so exposed, you're going to like, why are they looking at me?
They're judging me?
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah,
You're immediately going to think the worst because now you've exposed yourself and you have no armor, no wall, no nothing. You're naked, for lack of a better term. You know what I mean? And it's, yeah. So to write that fully about something that is so vulnerable, it's crazy.
And shout out to them for doing that too. Yeah, you could, Kurt. Google some stuff.
No, I was just gonna say just a couple lines that stood out to me. You know, firstly from Suge's verse was hold on one sec. Oh, it was lonely. Basically, I become completely alone. It's a lock that fills sadness. Basically, like the loneliness is essentially what permeates your sadness within you. And I just thought the metaphor of the lock, kind of tying that in, was a beautiful way to kind of write that, to express that feeling. Because it's one thing to have those feelings, no matter how deeply they feel and how personal they are to you. To be able to kind of metaphorically, convey that in a way that's not necessarily just easier to understand, but just something that like, wow, like I wouldn't have thought of it that way, to kind of give some form of intimacy into seeing that deeper pain that you're trying to represent. And I just thought that was done really well. And then basically the words that are so easily said towards me quickly become a wall, essentially. Because he said even loneliness turns into something you can see, where he's saying literally the walls I'm putting up are something that's affecting me to where I'm so cold that people are literally seeing it. And I just thought the manifestation of kind of taking what's inside of you and making it from a metaphor to a literal, like, person, place, thing, object, kind of displaying it. I just thought that was done incredibly well. And then in Hope's verse, something that really hit me when he was talking about the cold abyss, keeping with the water theme of being, so deeply underground that no light is going to shine. So you're in that cold abyss, and he said it's like a neverland, keeping with the Peter Pan sort of aspect that he goes into later, which is even if I sleep a shrimp's sleep. Funny alliteration there. My dreams would be like that of a whale. So even if I'm not the predator of this so-called ocean, or not the big bad in the so-called ocean, even if I'm a little shrimp, my dreams are going to be of the highest of the high. And I just thought that was an incredible, way to create that connection from the highest to the low, the whale to the shrimp. And it's funny because even though you might say the shrimp, your dreams are of the whale, but even the whale itself is being alienated. So I just think that that's an incredible thing, because if you're encompassing that with, the wordplay of the sea and everything, you could be the big bad and still be, completely alienated and alone. And I just think that that's an incredible kind of thing, because you're essentially a genie in a bottle at that point, it seems.
You got to rub you the right way.
Exactly. And ironically, keeping with that swimming thing of, you need to swim to breathe, to live, to where, like, if you become stagnant in your dreams or in your beliefs, it's almost akin to a death. So I just think that that's really incredible. But basically at the end, he says the upcoming big praise will make me dance every day. So basically it's like, like I'm going to keep grinding, keep doing my thing until that eventual break, much like the reaping what you sow. But basically him being the dancer, knowing that dance is his passion and what he's so strong about. I like that he said, I'm essentially going to dance. Like I'm a cage bird, but I'm going to sing the best song I can.
Also, when whales jump out the water, they call that dancing.
See? And that's another thing. Like the lyricism here is just so incredible. And honestly, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but basically the last thing I was going to say was RM's final verse was when he had said, basically he's talking to his mother seemingly about, how blue the sea is, and how almost like he gets to a point where he's saying, I'm trying to think to how to word this, because he talks about the language aspect of it, where even different whales themselves can throw out different patterns and signals and everything. So even if you're a whale collectively, you might not reach another whale, kind of furthering that alienation and creating that bigger distinction between the two. But he basically says, Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right kind of word here. Basically, like, kind of belted out as far as you can go, seemingly, with regards to your dreams. And he's basically said, I can't hold it. I want to say I love you alone. I look back in music, that's like a rotating song. Ironically, keeping with older form of music, as far as, vinyls and things of that nature, I'm sure. But basically, the big takeaway that I'm getting from that is because you know how J-Hope had basically said the thing about dancing as well? When it gets to RM, essentially, it feels like it's talking about, like, because remember, and this is kind of what's hitting me on the deeper personal level, and I actually almost got a little emotional kind of thinking about it, but remember that thing with RM where he had said his mom had, like, took his laptop,
throwing out his raps.
So he's literally singing to his mom, essentially, in his verse, saying that, like, you know, I need to go for my dreams, like, I can't hold it. And it just felt like that was so personal to him, having known that bit of knowledge, and I'm not sure of the time period of when this came out or anything, but I imagine that being one of his deepest pains, where it's like the people who love me still can't accept me, furthering that alienation, where it's like even the people who are close to you aren't going to believe in you, or may not see the world the way you do, so you feel even further alienated. And again, being only, you know, let's just say 18 to 20 years old, maybe you're 21, 22, it doesn't, but point is, it's just like, you know,
young man.
because he said he had music since he was, 15, if I'm not mistaken, at least in Indigo, that's what was said. So I'm just imagining someone being 15, discovering that and still being alienated, still being alone, and kind of, you know, the way they're picking up off of this. But basically from every person's verse, the vocals, like, this really is like a perfect song for me. And the metaphors and the writing within it are just so incredible. It's, this is definitely going to be, you know, a song that I strongly hold and could easily sneak into the top 10 territory, top 15-ish territory for me. But even aside from just my personal takeaways as far as, you know, how I'm going to replay or listen to the song, the deeper message and how it could tie into tomorrow, and just kind of belting that out and knowing that, you know, your art is going to reach someone, even if it's honestly not in your lifetime even. I just think that's so deep and so passionate, and it speaks to anyone who, you know, is any bit interested in artistry or kind of music, storytelling, movies, anything like that. So it definitely hit for me on a really, really deep level.
Those are signs of real artists. You leave stuff over here really for the next generations to kind of, like, you know, depict and
it
do
honestly
everything.
Almost made me feel like Wildflower in a way too, where it's like, you know, even when I'm gone off this earth, perhaps, like, there's a part of me that's going to leave this art behind, that someone else is then going to be able to pick up and draw inspiration from. And, you know, I just find that so beautiful and so, you know, all encompassing as far as human, you know, the human experience, if you will.
Yeah, this article says, like many other introspective tracks from BTS discography, Whalien 52 is the most earnest symbolism, wherein the Sept narrates their struggles with loneliness using the metaphor of a 52 hertz well. That is known to be the loneliest well in the world because its high-pitched frequency cannot be heard by other wells.
Wow.
That's fucking incredible.
Whalien 52 sees the group address its inability to connect with others, stardom, and anxiety it brings. The well metaphor holds deep importance to BTS iconography. Most recently, it appeared in the animated music video for We Are Bulletproof, The Eternal. In that case, the lonely well represented BTS itself, and the well is no longer lonely because the group found the strength through the compassion of BTS Army.
And I do one thing in relation to that as well.
Yeah.
It also says much like you had just said, that due to its higher frequency pitch, it's unable to communicate with other whales. But the word choice, higher frequency pitch, BTS has literally risen to heights that have never been achieved before. So they're saying the height that they have reached as celebrities is that pitch. That therefore no one can understand and further alienates them. Keeping with Suge's verse as far as the fuck I'm a celebrity.
Right, that's just about to say that. Yeah.
And that is just fucking incredible, honestly.
Well, let's get into it a little bit, because
that's incredible.
What I want to talk about after hearing all that, and what we talked about too, is imagine how they feel. You essentially had took over the South Korean market. You changed the game with everything, and your goals are no longer you've done everything you can almost do in that market. So your goal is world domination at this point, as far as like music goes. Because of that, you're alienated in your hometown. you go to a Western market and you feel alienated there.
It's been only Army.
Yeah, you literally only have Army there to support you because you've reached, like you said, so high of a frequency. No one else has ever even been on that frequency. Who can you even talk to outside of each other to even like can even hear you?
It solidifies the brotherhood so much more. It solidifies the connection with Army so much more. Knowing all those things, of course. But then imagine the pressure that brings them to where it's like, you know, even if like, yo, I want to quit or I'm not feeling music or I'm depressed or any kind of, you know, of these depressive thoughts that would go through anyone's head. And then you get to a point where it's like, I have to sing, I have to dance, I have to rap. Not only because that's me, but because who is that going to save or help, just like our music has in the past? Like, who's that future generation going to reach? And it just, that's just mind-blowing to me.
I think that narrative might have changed more recently because you do see celebrities who are like, oh, I know them. Oh, I like them. Hey, come guys, take a picture of me. Let's talk. Let's collab. You see more of that here now, especially in recent years. I don't know whether it's a cool thing to do. I don't think that's the case because the people that they are kind of gravitating towards them seem to be pretty genuine. Even some ratchets are pretty genuine. So like, I think maybe they're finding other whales in the ocean that may relate to them and be able to kind of hear their song.
I certainly hope so.
And I think that's definitely the narrative maybe now. There was something else I wanted to say, but
I know I said the sugar thing, and you were like that. So the celebrity.
No, I was going to say literally the same thing you said about
I didn't know if that was
about you know, I'm a celebrity, so you know, whatever. But you know, that doesn't make anything any better.
Do you know when when I was talking or? Okay. I'd have re-sparked up what I was saying to kind of feed you to see if it clicked back.
I'm old. It goes in and out the other.
I think you might be onto something as far as them maybe being able to talk like to other celebrities, but I think their situation is so unique. You just never seen anything like this before. So it is. I mean, like I said, you literally can only talk to each other.
Maybe not in our lifetime. So like maybe the Beatles kind of went through this, but they're not exactly around for them to talk to.
So Peep, I don't think the Beatles were ever really alienated in UK.
That's what I wanted to say. No, I don't think so either. I think they were beloved in the UK, and they were kind of like sent over here, go dominate them. We want our taxes back, but
hey yo,
like, we just want to make music.
we just want to make music, Mike. No, but kind of what he was saying before, like, you know, like you have to do this. You have to do this now. It almost will be almost a lead in to another animal song, Black Swan. Whereas I don't know, I no longer have the love, but yet here I am still having to do this because this is how I make my money. This is how I'm famous going forward, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, we'll save some. Jump in the comments. Tell us how y'all felt about this joint. We're going to do the live version of this and have a conversation there when we're done. This was super deep. Y'all not getting no comments and no conversations like this really anywhere else. So y'all better be subscribed to the channel. Jump on the Patreon. It's going to be a zoo on there this month. No pun intended. Guess an aquarium after this.
But
yeah, also thank y'all Army for this journey. It seems like every time we jump into like more of this content, you just kind of even get more and more. And this even kind of just solidified some other things with other videos that we did that were deep dives. Really want to jump into the live of this, so we're going to holler at y'all.
Love y'all.
Peace.